The Secret to Self-Control. In Chapter 7, The Secret to Self-Control, from James Clear's Atomic Habits, we delve into the profound understanding that the environment plays a crucial role in shaping our habits, often more significantly than our willpower. This chapter unpacks the notion that self-control is less about individual discipline and more about the context in which we operate. The chapter starts with the startling discovery during the Vietnam War that a significant percentage of U.S. soldiers were heroin addicts. However, most of these soldiers, upon returning home, surprisingly broke their heroin addiction almost instantly. This phenomenon led to the realization that habits are strongly influenced by our environment. In Vietnam, the environment was conducive to heroin use. Back home, the absence of these environmental cues led to a change in behavior. Clear explains how we often misattribute a lack of self-control to personal failure, overlooking the power of external triggers. In truth, individuals who exhibit high self-control tend to structure their lives to minimize the need for it. They spend less time in environments that tempt them, thereby reducing their reliance on willpower. The chapter further illustrates how habits become associated with the contexts and environments in which they are developed. For example, a smoker might feel an urge to smoke not necessarily because of an internal craving, but because they are in a situation where they usually smoke. This concept is termed cue-induced wanting, where an external context or environment triggers a craving. The key takeaway is the importance of being mindful of our environments and how they influence our habits. Creating an environment that supports good habits and minimizes cues for bad habits is more effective than relying on willpower alone. Simple changes, such as removing temptations or restructuring our living spaces, can have a profound impact on our behavior. This insight into habit formation and self-control provides a fresh perspective on how we can create lasting change in our lives. Rather than berating ourselves for lack of discipline, we can focus on shaping our surroundings to naturally foster the habits we aspire to develop. This insightful chapter overturns the common belief that self-control is merely a matter of willpower, revealing that our environment plays a far more crucial role in shaping our habits. The author gave a compelling example from the Vietnam War, where a significant number of U.S. soldiers addicted to heroin astonishingly overcame their addiction upon returning home. This striking change was attributed not to a sudden increase in willpower, but to a complete shift in their environment. Clear articulates a key insight. The habits we form are not just a reflection of our choices, but also the cues present in our surroundings. He introduces the concept of make it invisible, the inverse of the first law of behavior change. This principle suggests that one of the most effective ways to break a bad habit is by removing the cues that trigger it from our environment. Instead of relying on sheer willpower to resist temptation, it's far more effective to avoid being tempted in the first place. The chapter emphasizes that people who exhibit high self-control typically have structured their lives to minimize the need for it. They avoid situations where they have to actively resist temptation, thus making self-control a less required trait. Clear also touches on the persistence of habits once formed. Even when a habit is not currently active, the underlying mental patterns do not easily fade away. They can be reactivated by exposure to familiar cues, underscoring the importance of managing our environment to maintain control over our habits. The chapter concludes with the powerful idea that self-control is more about creating the right environment than an inherent personal quality. By designing our surroundings to naturally elicit the behaviors we desire, we set ourselves up for success. So, what we learn today is that mastering self-control and habit formation is less about internal struggle and more about intelligently structuring our external world. It's a refreshing perspective that empowers us to make lasting changes in our habits and our lives. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more insights into transforming your life